Yo, what up, everybody? We in this thing. We in this thing today, man. Gonna talk about Big Meech. Big Meech. Alright. Let's get to it then, man. See what's going on?
This is what Tammy Cowens said to someone I know years ago.
Hold up. Whoa.
I was just doing what I have to do to get my people out. This is what Tammy Cowens said to someone I know years ago when this paperwork first started to come out, because she was the point person if you wanted to talk to him, whoever you were, even people he knew from Detroit back in the day, because he was moving prison to prison, getting put in the hole. She was the point person for a lot of his phone calls. And now I have been sent a several hundred-page document. This is not the Frank's hearing that everybody's been looking at. The Frank's hearing references
700 pages.
Ooh, this document, amongst others. There's probably things that are sealed that'll never come out, but here we go. This was from Mr. Gatling's case.
Hey, is it me though? Or do he look like he hide in a billy goat white?
And this is about a hearing about DEA agent Keith Cromer and what went on with Fidel Suarez, Demetrius Flannery, Cuffy Gatling. This is...
Did you know that you could be owed a major cash payout if you were in a car accident in the last year, even if you were just a passenger or a...
This hearing was caused by Cuffy Gatling's lawyers and them getting full discovery of everything that happened. Beginning with your name, it's... They retracted CS1. And CS1, have you been appointed counsel in the case? Yes, ma'am. So she has a lawyer for this. And who's been appointed to represent you? Mr. Newton. Okay. I'm going to refer to you as CS1, okay? Okay. Is that fair to say? Okay. Let me start. In 2009, did you become a DEA confidential informant? Yes, sir. This is the woman who set up the show with 50 Cent. This is why you had a BMF show to watch. DEA confidential informant.
So, other words, that's Tammy.
And who was it that you contacted prior to becoming a confidential informant? Jack Harvey. Mr. Harvey is employed where? At the time, he was a DEA agent for Atlanta. He was the one that oversaw the BMF case. So she reached out to him because she was dating a guy named Terry Bernard White that ended up getting convicted of some reefer conspiracy, and she was afraid she was going to be mixed up in the money laundering. Who was your handler? Jack Harvey. What was the case you were involved in? Terry Bernard White. How long was it that you worked with Mr. Harvey on the case? Over a year.
So they've been working a long time.
At some point, did Mr. Harvey inform you after Terry White was taken into custody that you were going to be put up for an award? Before he was retiring, he acknowledged that. And did he tell you what it was going to be? No, he did not. He just indicated it. But there comes a time when you went from working for Mr. Harvey to working for somebody else. Yes, sir. When was that time period? After I received a message from Jack Harvey that he was retiring, then I received a call from the Atlanta DEA asking me to stay on board. And who was that call from? Keith Cromer. And what was Mr. Cromer's position? He was with the DEA Atlanta. Same group Mr. Harvey was in? That's right. At some point, you were introduced to Mr. Cromer. Yes, I was. And
Man, Atlanta always got some shit going on, man. I tell you.
who were you supposed to work with in relation to Mr. Cromer? David Fred. It was several. David Fred, Tony Mara. And you're talking about agents? Agents in the group? Yes, agents in the group. And who was the controlling agent? David at one point, Fred at one point, Tony at one point. So Keith Cromer worked as part of a group, and she met the controlling agent as well. What were you told by either Mr. Keith Cromer or other controlling agents that you were supposed to do? Basically, they would set me up for Hispanics. That I would either go pick up money or drugs and bring it back or make phone calls. So she was going to be, reading between the lines, posed as the female runner for black drug dealers making purchases or turning in money for cartel targets. And this was sometime in 2011. That seems about right. What was the promise to you with respect to your activity? Well, when we met to discuss would I stay on board, I asked what I would have to do. And I was told just what I'd said about Hispanics. And then I said, okay. And if I can get something big, and Cromer said, you'll get a lot of money. And I said, can I get Demetrius Flannery's time cut? And he said, we can work on that. And you mentioned Demetrius Flannery's name to Mr. Cromer. Yes, I did. So at this point, according to her testimony, she, after turning in her ex-boyfriend Terry White and working that case, and there'll be more about that later, she was called back and said, hey, you want to keep working with us and setting up Hispanics because DEA wants to make big cases in Atlanta. If you didn't know, is a hub like Chicago. Atlanta was a hub.
So basically, they wanted to get the Mexicans and the black people that were selling. So basically, that's who they was all after. They were coming to get them.
Possibly because of BMF. When BMF went down, the cartels knew how much sales they had been getting out of Atlanta, and they sent replacements there. So she didn't approach them on behalf of, she didn't call them up and say, hey, I want to set up coffee for a Big Meech, per this testimony. And you mentioned Demetrius Flannery's name to Mr. Cromer. Yes, I did. And it was about perhaps helping him out. Yes, for a time reduction. Did they indicate that you would have to testify against anybody? No. You were told you wouldn't have to testify? That's correct. They told me they would be deported back to Mexico once they did the drug bust with the Hispanics, and I wouldn't have to testify. All right, now.
So, other words, they were trying to keep her out of harm's way so she wouldn't be on the stand or none of that. You did. All right.
I take it then Mr. Cromer, in the course of dealing with you, knew about Mr. Flannery. Yes, he knew about Demetrius Flannery and our relationship as friends. Let's get into that. What was your relationship with Mr. Flannery? He was my friend. Okay, or is my friend. Was there any business relationship? Yes, sir. Did you have any business relationship with him? Yes, I have his life rights with creative control and his power of attorney. That's a hell of a lot to give to somebody. When you could give your power of attorney to an attorney.
Man, that is a lot of power to give somebody, though. And to trust them with getting some money out of it. See, gonna give them your whole life rights. Ain't back to bite him in the ass now, huh? And see how they can't make no BMF movies. 50 Cent got it on block. Ain't make none of that. You did. Sad.
Why would you not just give your power of attorney to an entertainment attorney and have this woman work with her?
So you can get it back later on. Now you can't even get it back, dog.
Mistake number one. How long had you been acquainted with Mr. Flannery? Now, I said that she met him in prison, but I was wrong. I would say 2000. He was incarcerated in 05. It was in 03 or 02 when I met him. So in 2011 or 12, you'd already known him for 8 or 9 years. Yes, sir. You visited him in prison. Yes, for many years. And you communicated that to Mr. Cromer. Is that correct? Yes, I did. Now let's talk about someone else. Let's talk about Mr. Cromer. Okay. At some point in time after 2011, which is when you became a CS, did you develop a relationship with Mr. Cromer? Yes, I did. What was the nature? Started as friends, then we became close friends and became sexually engaged.
So he was hitting her. He was tapping that thing. He was tapping that thing. tapping that thing, boy.
Sexual intercourse didn't start till maybe after 5 or 6 months, sometime
Oh man, it probably started way before then.
in 2012. How often would he visit or be with you? 5 to 6 days a week out of 7. So they were together.
Oh man, they live together. She only missing. She had that motherfucker like a job. She only off 2 days.
Now, there comes a time when you had conversations with another individual. Let's talk about Dion Gatling. Yes, sir. And how did you know Mr. Gatling? I knew him through phone conversations, originally through him knowing Demetrius Flannery as his good friend. So Demetrius Flannery was friends with Mr. Gatling, from my understanding of both parties. Was there a nickname he knew Mr. Gatling by? Cuff. Cuff, okay. And what kind of relationship did you have with Cuff? How did you know him? Well, he called me one day years ago and just said that he was Demetrius's friend, as many people do, and that how was his brother doing? Cuffy and Demetrius were like brothers, whatever that means. You know, so tell him to send my love, etc. Just a general conversation.
Hey, man, they can't be like brothers. Look, man, they can't be like brothers. Brothers don't tell on each other. You dig? Brothers do not tell on each other. I can tell you that much. We'll keep it going.
Cuff was free at this time. He had done about 10. He must have just gotten out because he did about 10 years in the early 2000s, right before Meech and them got indicted.
Damn, man, that man just got through doing 10 years, man. That's why they say be careful who you fuck with. He just got through doing 10.
So they were basically just social contacts you had with him. That's correct. Was there any times when you emailed or texted him? Yes. So he knew in conversation with myself that we were working on Louis Burrell, and another gentleman was trying to get me to sign my life rights for Demetrius over to them. So once Demetrius signed his life rights and his power of attorney to her, she could sign them over or sell them to other people without consulting him. And I was having correspondence with Dion Gatling in regards to that because he was trying to come up with something. Dion was trying to work his own BMF movie deal and was making a lot of progress. So the initial contact with Mr. Gatling is more of a business relationship about the movie at this point, nothing else. Fair to say that's correct. Okay, now about an individual by the name of Fidel Suarez. How did you make an acquaintance with Mr. Suarez? And she pauses. He called and again wanted to know how Demetrius Flannery is doing. It almost sounds like she was going to say, I made a call. But she said he called again and wanted to know how Demetrius was doing. Tell him he sends his love. Did I have a mailing address? And I provided that. Then you talked to Mr. Flannery about Mr. Suarez at some point in time. Yes. I'd usually give him a rundown on who calls and showing her support. She was his secretary. And did he indicate, so he trusted her like no other. Remember, he had...
Look, man, so he knew all the people she was talking to. He knew all the business that he was handling. They knew all the business that he was handling. Kind of reckless. That's what I say, kind of reckless.
Well, the woman he paroled to in Florida, he had his mother, well, maybe his mother might have been compromised legally, I'm not sure, but this is who he chose to handle all his business. Okay, so I usually give him a rundown on who calls and showing their support. And did he indicate to you that he knew Mr. Suarez and in what capacity? He did. He just said he did time with him in the county jail and that he'd beaten his case, Fidel Suarez, that is, and that was about it. Meech, even when they were being tried in Eastern District of Michigan, where normally prisoners are held in the Wayne County Jail, they put him up in the St. Clair County Jail, which is, an hour, 45 minutes from Detroit, because he was... I had a friend that was a guard at the Wayne County Jail when Meech was there, and he said the guards were getting his autographs. When they were getting his autograph, I'm sure they were bringing him stuff. So At some point, the feds got him moved out of there.
So I wonder what they think of him now. Since everybody was taking pictures and all of that good stuff, I wonder what they think of him now. I don't know. We're gonna keep on going. We're gonna keep on at it, man. Keep on at it.
St. Clair County Jail. Okay, now, did there come a time in your relationship with Mr. Gatling and Mr. Suarez when the conversation turned to narcotics? Yes. When was that time? Mid-2012. How did that convo begin? Well, the initiation was Fidel Suarez. He called and made some conversation about he needed to get rid of some type of pills, and did I know somebody that wanted to buy them? I was in a call with Keith Cromer at the time on the speaker in my car, and Keith said, tell him yes. And shortly thereafter, I received a call from an agent in California, and that's how it started off transpiring from Fidel. They don't go into that, but Fidel Suarez he had beaten one case, he might have beaten two, or he had one and beat the other.
Yeah, he was beating a lot of cases. And I think this the only way that they could stop him.
Fidel Suarez owned a trucking company out of California and was using it to move narcotics.
A large amount.
Okay, was there ever a time when you were asked to give a phone number to Fidel at any point? Yes. A couple times, Fidel called and asked for Cuff's number. Did he say who? He said, Buddy told me to get Cuff's phone number, and I gave him Cuff's phone number. Who is Buddy, for the record? Answer, I'm assuming Demetrius Flannery. So you've known him by that name? Correct? Well, when he says, but...
Who is Buddy? Say it could be Mr. Flanagan. All right, Buddy.
As he calls, yes, sir. So Demetrius is Buddy. Buddy. So apparently
Demetrius.
Fidel somehow had talked to Meech, and Meech said, get someone's number from Tammy so you guys can do something. And did you do that? Yes, I did. Now, during a period of time you just indicated Mr. Cromer is with you. Mr. Cromer, did he overhear any of the conversations you had with either Mr. Gatling or Mr. Suarez at that time? Yes, with Mr. Suarez.
So they been listening. He listening in. He know the feds listening in. Everybody just listening in.
July 2012, did you have a convo with Mr. Suarez related to a trip you may take?
Yes.
Fidel asked me to come to St. Louis because he was going. Well, that's where Cuffy was at. Did he tell you why he wanted you in St. Louis? No, he didn't. And did he contact you later on? Yes, he did. He contacted me when he was in St. Louis, stating that he had a truck up there, and that, from my understanding, if I recollect, he didn't have the phone number, and he had this truck. So Fidel is in St. Louis. His driver has bought a truck for this person that told her to give Cuff his phone number per Buddy, which is Big Meech. And that would be August 5th of 2012. So when I received that call, it was on a Sunday.
So from 2012. That's when it kind of started getting in the bind.
I was at home cooking spaghetti. So when did you receive the phone call from Fidel Suarez from St. Louis? When I received that call, it was on a Sunday. I was at home cooking spaghetti, and Keith Cromer was at my house. How lovely. So they're having Sunday dinner, her and a DEA agent, while a semi-truck full of yayo bricks is sitting somewhere in St. Louis with no one to pick them up.
Wow. Just imagine it, man. The DEA, the undercover, sitting in there talking while a truck full of bricks sitting somewhere. and they got to get somebody to move it. Lord have mercy.
Imagine that. Demetrius Flannery was somewhere in a prison, probably telling BMF stories. Fidel Suarez's work is sitting in St. Louis, and DE agent Cromer and Miss Tammy were booed up cooking paschetti on a Sunday. And I can't remember honestly if it was heroin or coke. And I said, "What's going on?" And he was all upset, saying, "I got an effing truck up here, and this dude is playing games." And he was using a lot of profanity. And he said, "See if you can get in contact with him." I had an alternate number for Cuff.
Look.
So Cuff only called.
So he was going off because they done had him come up there, man. He got a whole load up there, man. And there ain't nobody answering the phone, and ain't nobody up there to pick up the truck. So he done got fire hot. I see what's happening right here. He done got fire hot.
Called you to say hi, but you had multiple numbers for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to Cuff and asked him, and he said he hasn't tried to call me. And I said he's calling you at this number. And man, that was the wrong number. Fidel had Cuff's old number, and guys switched numbers. She had the current and active number. She passed it on to Suarez. Subsequently, they contacted each other. That's correct. That Sunday, that's correct.
So, did they catch this one? Did they let this one go on, or did they just sit back and watch this one?
Mr. Cromer, Agent Cromer, was he present during these conversations? Yes, he was. Was he listening in on these conversations? Yes, he was. And at the time he was listening in, he could hear what both parties were saying. Yes, I had him on a speakerphone.
What?
Am I on a speakerphone? Have you?
Hold up. So he was on the phone when all this was going on? Yeah, bro, he tripping. Why like let the play be made, bro? You putting yourself in harm's way. Bad business.
You ever been purchasing a truckload of kilograms and thought, "Is that echo man on the speakerphone?"
No. Who's buying a bunch of kilos, first of all? Like, no. Like, bro, y'all got to be out y'all mind. You in jail, first of all. Worry about to play that much? Bro, y'all crazy, man.
Keith Cromer reached out to St. Louis DEA, and I got on the phone to speak to an agent. Okay, but the substance of your conversations regarding the dope deal and truck, did you relay that to St. Louis DEA? Yes, I did, to the agents involved. To the agent I spoke on the phone, and Mr. Cromer had already contacted them. That is correct. And would it be fair to say that you had 2, 3, 5? How many conversations with St. Louis agents did you have about this August 5th conversation? Probably at a total of 3.
So they talking and talking and talking and talking. So here's my thing. Did the DEA, did they ever get the drugs? Or did they just let them sell the drugs and then wait and gonna put that on paperwork and have that part of the plan too? You know what's the dirty game out here now?
Blah, blah, blah. And when you talked to the agents and Mr. Cromer, did you indicate to them at any point you had to obtain a photograph of Mr. Suarez? Yes. Okay, how did that happen? You indicated earlier it was a result of exchanging Facebook. Oh, no, the picture came from Fidel sending me the picture to my phone, a picture of him so I could put it in my contact list. Well, how convenient. So did you add?
Now they can easily identify the subject. Because you sent her a picture of you with your face all on it. Now she say your name And everybody know who you is. Y'all so smart.
Ask him for a picture. I asked him for a picture. Government exhibit, and they present the picture. I wish I had a picture of Fidel Suarez. Did you ever meet Mr. Suarez in person? No, I never met him. How about Mr. Gatling? Had you met Mr. Gatling? I had not met Mr. Gatling at that time. Did there come a time when you did meet Mr. Gatling? Yes. He called and said he was coming to Atlanta and he wanted to take me to dinner. Okay, so what happened with the truck? I had a conversation with Fidel Suarez. He called upset, furious. This was after the fact of the 5th. He was mad because he said the Cuff stiffed him and didn't pay all the money. So she facilitated them being in contact. Cuff got the truck.
So they did get the load. So they know already Cuffy got the load right there. And they know his money was short right there. He been in jail for 10 years.
According to this, he didn't pay him all the money for the drugs. I don't remember if it was heroin or cocaine. I honestly don't remember. She said that several times. Maybe she knows that the penalties for H are worse than C. But he didn't pay him all the money for the blacks. So for someone that's just passing phone numbers, she knows the business. I mean, well, she's in the mix. Blah, blah, blah. To the Keith Cromer. Okay, let's go to November of 2012. Did there come a point when you were working with Mr. Cromer where it was decided you would no longer talk to Dion Gatling? That is correct. And when you told him that, what did he do? He said, well, that's fine. I'll let him talk too. And he says a name, but they changed it to CS2, which is another woman. And that was it. So if they're going to move Dion Gatling over to another CS who's a woman, is that another? Why would Dion talk to a random woman?
And who is the CS2? Who is the other woman? Let's get deeper and figure out who the other woman is.
I'll let him talk. That's Cromer. She's talking to Cromer. I'll let him talk to CS2. So Cromer is somehow involved in. Boy, trying to judge what's going on from the verb tenses. And when you told Cromer that, what did he do? Then he said, well, that's fine. I'll let him talk to CS2. Why would Cromer be controlling who Dion Gatling is talking to? Dion Gatling would talk to people that either Meech, Fidel Suarez, or Tammy told him to talk to, right? So was Cromer at this point controlling CS2, this other woman? And Gatling would only listen to some other person if either Fidel Suarez or Meech knew her, right? Okay. CS2, is that fair to say? From my understanding, that's CS2. Let's refer to her as CS2 from now on. So her name was in the record. I'm not saying it. They struck it and made it CS2. Want to keep her out of it also. I'd asked the record be stricken of the name. The court will refer to her as CS2. So CS2 comes in the mix in November of 2012. Okay. So, and how did it go? What did you do? What did CS2 do and who showed up? Well, Dion asked me, did I know anybody? Prior to the meeting, he asked me if I knew anybody he could get work from. Basically, they could front him some work, some drug transaction. And I said, well, I don't really know anybody, but I'll think about it and let you know. Okay, why would a woman... Well, okay, so Cuffy Gatling, and this is, I don't know anything about Mr. Gatling other than court stuff. I did do a brief interview with him. He's been convicted prior to this. Cuffy's a real guy from a real place, from St. Louis. Why would he be asking Tammy Did she know someone who could give him some work?
Cause the word out on the street. And what I mean by that is everybody knows Tammy got work. Like once she served this one person and she served this one person, it's like everybody went back talking and everybody know now Tammy got work. Everybody know Tammy got work.
Just because she's around, I'm around. I know a lot of people in this world. Nobody calls me and says, hey, Al, do you know someone that could, give me 100 bricks on consignment? That's not what I do. Why would you ask me that? So why would he ask her that? I told him everybody was locked up, I think the wording that I used. And then Keith said,
no, cause somehow, way man, she had to been having it. Wouldn't nobody ask no question like that? Did you gonna give them to me on consignment? I mean, I gotta know you. I gotta know something about you. You gotta be doing business for a while or something. All right. Y'all know I'm slow.
tell him you know a lady. And that's what I said with your CS2. Okay, so that's not Meech's person. That's a woman that Keith Cromer had. So these women are being used as these big drug kingpins.
IRS e-file is now open. Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus,
proxies. So at that point in time, you were out of the investigation with Mr. Gatling. So Dion supposedly, Mr. Gatling asked for some work on credit after stiffing Fidel Suarez, and she says, yeah, I'll hook you up with this other girl. I wonder is that, well, let me not put people's names out there. So at that point in time, you're out of an investigation with respect to Mr. Gatling. Other than us meeting for dinner, that's fair to say. Oh, they went to the Varsity in Atlanta. That night, they went to the only Varsity I know is in the downtown ATL. That's where King Von and Dirk caught their case. Do you see Mr. Gatling in the courtroom today? Oh, Mr. Gatling was there. So this was a real court hearing. Mr. Dion Cuffy Gatling was there.
Man, why would y'all be at the Varsity? Like, I know it's probably cool and you in the A and you downtown and all that good stuff, but man, bruh, it's so wide open at the Varsity.
There came a time when Mr. Gatling was indicted. Did you become aware of that? Yes, and okay, and do you remember exactly when that was? April and May of 2014. Now, during this time you were working, what things were you doing as a cooperator and an informant? They would tell me to go and pick up money or go pick up drugs at a certain location. Then I would show up and I would say, okay, we want you to pick up. One example was $270,000, and we're going to bring them back to drugs. So she would pose. She would say, I'm with the people who got to work, I'm going to get to $270,000 and bring back the drugs. Most cases, I always meet with all the agents. Every time I'd go, I'd end up not going to pick up the drugs or entering money. Strange.
That's strange. What I'm not understanding is, like, man, $250,000, man, you can go do something else with your life. Like $250,000, man, you can go do something else. You can go start a whole new life. You can go build some shit, man, go start all the way over. Go get your couple business, man, and you never have to do that again. Why would you still want to touch it? Oh, yeah, man. And I'm over here eating, man. That's why I keep on closing the camera off, man. But we're going to get back to it.
At any rate, you were assigned certain things to do. Among them were phone calls. Yes, sir. You were asked to make phone calls. Yes, sir. Mr. Cromer, did he give you a phone number and ask you to give it to another agent? He was at my house one morning on his way to work for a meeting. He went to meetings once a week, and he said, hey, take this number. I don't remember. And he said, give them this information. For what? I said. He said, don't ask me any questions. Don't worry about it. Just do this for me. And this information related to an individual by the name of Bootsy from Decatur, Georgia. Who is Bootsy from Decatur, Georgia? ATL, shouty. Get on the case. Who's Bootsy?
Boosie from ATL, shorty. So there's a lot of y'all. Yep. It's a lot of y'all. Gonna get to it. You said, don't worry about what I say, man. Just do what I say. Do when I say. Do it. I say. Do it, player.
See, from Decatur, Georgia, they were on your trail, buddy. Or maybe you're in federal prison. I don't know. All jokes aside.
Right.
Best of luck to Bootsy. Now, while you were talking with the agents of St. Louis about Mr. Gatling and Mr. Suarez, did Mr. Cromer give you any numbers or tell you to give these numbers to any of the agents? Bootsy, that's the only time this ever happened. Other than CS2 was to give me numbers, which had nothing to do with Cuff. So now she's working.
So now it's like 3 people working. It's 2 girls working. And 1. So that means it's really like 4 people working right now. We playing. I feel like I'm playing a mystery game. Now we trying to figure out how many snitches is it? We playing a mystery game.
Was CF2. She was to provide me with numbers for a gentleman named Diego, but this had nothing to do with Deanne Gatling. So these 2 women they're in deep. They're working the Hispanics, to use the DEA's term. Now, Tammy Cowens, in some circles was known as the white girl. She appears to be a light-skinned African-American. She could pass for Hispanic. I don't know what her ethnic background is. She's like my father. She can pass for anything. Okay, now, Tammy, there's a lot. People, there's 100 and some pages. Shout out to my guy that sent me this. Though this has been available, but.
Shout out to American Dope, man.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm not gonna give it all to you here. Okay. Oh. So here's the time when she starts talking about being afraid. Okay, this is when she gets paid. So she gets an $80,000 check from Agent Cromer.
Oh, so she getting paid good from the feds. $80,000. They're making it keep on wanting to tell on. They're making 80 grand a play. She getting it in. She making more than the rappers. She making 80K. She spitting fire. She knocking them out the box, Rick. Tell you.
She calls Jack Harvey, the original guy she knew who worked the DMF case and was retired, and says, I got an $80,000 check and I don't know why. They said it's for everything you're doing.
They like, great job, Tammy. Great job. You done got us paid so much. Great job, Tammy. That's how they are. Great job. 80K. Great job. Just keep on working them. Still need to figure out who C2 is. 80K.
As far as you knew, you didn't know what it was for. She got an $80,000 check, didn't know what it's for. She called Jack Harvey and said, it's too much. Now the agent, who does?
Man, right. Man, who finna tell you that's too much money, man? Ain't nobody finna say nothing about no money. I don't want 100K, man. You got 80, you might well go and give me them other 20, man. Make it even 100. Drop down monkey style, man. No wonder telling at an all-time high. I ain't know they were paying that much. Hey, niggas is bouncing back, boy. They better than rappers.
It's that. Now, the agents have been paying you periodically on a monthly basis. That's just for me making
They is the new rappers.
phone calls and going back and forth with the Hispanics.
They gonna give your ass a rap sheet.
Was there any agreement, you or anyone else, about your rent? You know, that's a rule for some of these African-American street guys in some of these cities. You can tell when the Mexicans out of town, it's cool. Be careful out there for any of my Hispanic brethren watching.
So, y'all think that's really happening? Well, it probably is really happening. Like, everybody just telling on everybody. I think that's what's going on right here. Everybody is just telling on everybody.
I've heard those conversations.
Let me finish my food.
So they were paying her rent. So she got $55,000 from Terry White,
Damn.
and she got some more money from someone else. We're gonna get into that part in a minute.
Damn.
She got. So they're paying her rent, $2,500. There's a lot. I'm trying to sift through it for you here. Okay, during this period of time, you received some money for the Terry White case. It was $55,000. Sound about right? Yeah, that sounds about right. And that was for your assistance of Jack Harvey in the Terry White case. Well, that, and I also it contributed to my jewelry that was seized in Terry White's house during the time they seized it. So she had some jewelry that was worth $34,000. Let her tell it. That she didn't get back. It was forfeited.
So that means she got an 80 ball on top of a 50 ball. Oh, she up. Yeah, she up. She is most definitely winning by sending y'all to jail. Yeah, she up. 130 racks, she up.
So after Jack said, well, I can say anything, I said, I don't want you to because I don't trust anybody within the government. He said, no, you can trust this person. I'm going to make a few phone calls. Then I received a call to meet Keith Cromer's boss at Atlanta Bread Company. So they went to a restaurant. She met this agent she had been having an affair with, boss.
Hey man, so what I'm starting to notice in Atlanta though is there's a whole lot of fucking the DEA and all that shit going on, man. Like Funny Willis and all that. Y'all fucking the gangsters. Y'all fucking the dope boys. Y'all fucking the dope girls. Y'all sad. Y'all sad, bro. Like, y'all really sad. Which side you want to play on, player? You can't be playing on this side, fucking a dope dealer, then want to turn in a dope dealer. And like, bro, how many sides you playing? They playing everybody. Then you gonna take him to jail. Don't get mad cause she be hitting him too. You did. Hey, y'all just, boy, I'm gonna have to call y'all the fucking Fantastics.
Subsequently, you have been interviewed on a number of occasions. A number. Without going into any details, you had a number. So she said, this is just a document that has made it to surfaced into the public. There's many other documents. Has anyone bribed you or asked you not to testify or give information about Mr. Cromer of any information he had? Now, important to remember, there's multiple criminal things going on here. The DEA's interest is probably less in, it doesn't seem to be in Mr. Flannery at this point. He's doing his time. They're trying to get Gatling, but they're trying to see how much malfeasance is going on in their office. It sounds like to me, remember Tammy said she didn't actually meet any Hispanics, maybe a little phone convo. Are these agents buying pussy with DEA?
Yeah, they buying pussy, man. Of course they buying pussy. You listening to the story? Everybody fucked up in this situation. DEA buying pussy. She telling. They setting up him over here. He just got a load over here and he short with the money. And he in prison just listening to all of this shit. He just on the telephone listening to all of this shit.
Right? So Tammy appears in the DEA offices and helps them work. Terry Bernard White, Keith Cromer is interested in procuring her vajayjay. He makes payments from you and I, the U.S. taxpayer, to her. She doesn't know what it's for. Well, you laid with him 6 nights a week. He was married. I mean, I don't know what women are into, but Keith Cromer was 60, which doesn't mean a woman can't like him, but he's cheating on his wife. He's a DEA agent. He's not a creative guy.
I can't say no. What age you stop liking pussy? I can't say that, man. You know.
I mean, women like a man, attractive, interesting, solid, emotional connection. Well, he lies to his wife. He's a boring federal agent. Couldn't be the physical part. Maybe the 80 was for the P. Pushing P, indeed. Okay, so, boy, there's a lot. This is 200 and some pages.
Pushing P.
In March of 2015, did you have occasion to go online and find any pleadings by the defense in this case? So Mr. Gatling in 2015, this stuff came out in 2015. The streets knew about this. When I first was, well, many moons ago, shout out to my guy who
Man, I told y'all he look like he is higher than shit.
was an unindicted co-conspirator with some Detroit people that keep up with the other Detroit people, and they said something about some pills and Meech, and this, remember the first call was about some pills. So I was hearing about this years ago, but I wasn't just gonna jump out there because the industry of talking about BMF has made a lot of people a lot of money, including me. Boop, bop, dee, bop. Boy, there's all type of stuff. Let's jump down. What are my notes here? 150. Let's just go to 150.
So everybody eating out BMF except BMF.
I'm not gonna give it all to you.
Looks like someone's going after these girls.
Then they have to know to watch their backs.
Okay, so they've recessed the court and come back. Now another attorney is talking to her. You are CS1 in this document, correct? That is correct. Okay. And as a part of your earlier testimony, you clarified that despite what's in this document, Mr. Flannery was never involved in trying to coordinate any drug deals between Mr. Suarez and Mr. Gatling. Is that correct? That is correct. Now, also as a part of this document, there's some discussions of you potentially getting a finder's fee, or there being a discussion between you and Mr. Suarez about a finder's fee for coordinating deals for cocaine. Is that accurate? That is accurate. I told them that they can give me some money so I can make sure Meech's books as commissary stays good. You know.
So man, they out here passing that finder's fee for cocaine like artists. as much cocaine as you can find. We give you a finder's fee. We give you $5,000 for every kilo that you go find. And this is how they getting y'all lab, boy. I hate to be y'all.
Or a finder's fee. So your intent was for them to conduct drug deals so they could give you money so you could place it on Mr. Flannery's books. That is what I was told to say. That is correct. That's what you were told to say by Keith. Oh.
Look, so where was the money going then? That's what you was told to say. So where was the money really going? Who was really getting the money? It sound more like money laundering to me. Everybody money laundering. Everybody sticking their hand in the pot.
Okay, so Mr. Cromer told you to say that. That's basically correct. Now, also there's some references in here to DEA agents in Atlanta, DEA Atlanta. Is it fair to say the only person you're really directing, talking about Keith Cromer? Oh my God, this is overwhelming. I believe you testified the additional things you were supposed to do were make phone calls and collect money and drugs you're dealing with, I guess, Hispanics. He said Hispanics? That's what he said. And the purpose of this was so they would be deported and you would never have to testify.
So they weren't even supposed to be making cases on everybody else. They supposed to be making cases on Hispanics. So when it's time for them to testify, they ain't even got to testify. They can just ship them up out of here and get them up out of here. And they can keep on stealing money like they were stealing money and paying everybody so we can deport them and get the money and everybody be happy.
She never panned out. Okay, where am I? Here, 150, 188. Let's go to 188. I went through this real fast earlier and made some notes. So specifically in paragraph 8, okay, so now there's some other documents and reports that we can't see that they're referencing and asking questions about, where she makes some statements which she now denies. Well, she said some things and now she's saying they're not true. So specifically in paragraph 8, it refers to a statement under section A that says CS1 told investigators that Demetrius Flannery coordinated drug distribution arrangements between the two, referring to Suarez and Gatling. Is that statement true? No, but she made it. There's a statement in paragraph B. CS1, Demetrius Flannery arranged for Suarez to deliver multiple kilogram quantities of cocaine to Gatling in St. Louis through CS1. That's not true. So the statements in paragraph 8 are false? Correct. That is not true. It goes on then to describe the activities of the conspiratorial members, starting number 1 with Demetrius Flannery. Oh, now she's trying to, what page are you on? Oh, she's trying to confuse it. What's the definition of conspiratorial? Come on now, sis. Come on, sis. Yeah, maybe just continuing on the top of the page. Flannery was responsible for the acquisition of cocaine. Did you have any information about Flannery being involved in conspiracy with these two individuals? Okay, now this gets a little confusing. It's about August 2012. Confidential informant hereinafter described as CS1 contacted the DEA to provide information on an active drug distribution conspiracy in which Dion Gatling, Fidel Suarez, and Demetrius Flannery are members. This is, okay, here's the key thing. There was in a report, it says she called the DEA to talk about this 3-person conspiracy. She says no. Keith was at my home. We were having spaghetti Sunday dinner. Keith overheard these conversations and called the St. Louis DEA. So you're messing with a DEA agent to the point he's at your home on Sunday. you doing some stuff on the phone with drug trafficking, and you let him overhear. Women, listen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, something about this sounds a little bitchy. Like, so what you gonna do? Just put it on speakerphone? And I wonder, was Big Meech listening to this conversation too? Did he know that they were listening to this conversation? Because he knew about the other conversation.
I don't like this type of stuff, but many people talk on the phone while their significant others right there about affairs and all type of stuff. You mean you couldn't keep a drug transaction covered up? He overheard it? Come on now. I never contacted DEA and said Demetrius was cuffing Fidel. So it's not true you contacted the DEA to provide information on an active drug distribution conspiracy? So it goes back to saying that's where the conflict. I'm not an attorney. I don't understand what you guys understand. What I know is the DEA of Atlanta was aware that Dion Gatling and Suarez were in drug conversation. She's not listening. The last sentence there. Flannery has arranged for Suarez to provide cocaine in multi-kilogram quantities to Gatling through CS1. The only contact I had with Demetrius was, hey, buddy told me to get Cuff's number. And that's the full extent of his involvement. So
somebody ain't telling
we don't have, there's many other documents.
It got to be.
If you're here to find Demetrius Flannery guilty of setting up his friend Dion Gatling or his former co-conspirator, I still don't know if that's there. The more I read this and think about it, Miss Cowens had Mr. Flannery's life rights. What if she was facilitating drug deals with them for him? And Gatling, wow. So Gatling wanted to do a deal for a movie. Tammy was kind of getting threatened about not signing over life rights. She had Demetrius' life rights and power of attorney. So she can do a deal on her own and pay herself whatever. So she get $1 million deal, she could pay herself $800,000 as the executive producer. She's power of attorney. What if I have Demetrius' power of attorney, I'm competing with Dion Gatling to get a TV, movie deal, whatever. What if I put them both in a conspiracy?
And get them out of here.
And get them more time locked up. If Demetrius catches the case where he's already doing time, they're going to bury him deep in the hole.
Get him out of here.
What if I do that? And now, Cuffy is no competition?
Man, it's a dirty game out here. Woo! If they did that, that's vicious. It's vicious in a dirty game, right?
And I can sign off the rights to anyone who I want. And I don't even really have to be answerable to Demetrius. He can barely call me.
Man.
I'm going to leave it right there. We have 40 minutes. That's a lot. There you go. So, I still don't see a smoking gun that Demetrius knew. Because here's the thing. I'm going to say this. If you're somebody and you want to set people up to get out of prison, right?
Right.
Everybody is picking and choosing, right? Like, you're not going to trade your mother or your little brother, right? Or your son. Oh, put my son in prison instead of me. Put my best friend. Your drug dealer, Demetrius Flannery, knows many people.
Right.
Why would he have picked Cuffy Gatling to set up? Demetrius was good. He was famous in prison. He probably could have set up people that you would never associate with him. Why did it have to be Cuffy? People say I'm hometown biased, and even the people connected to BMF I'm talking to sending me stuff for like, oh, why are you defending them? Maybe they're right, I don't know. I'm like, trying to be like an impartial jury. Meech was in prison. Maybe he didn't know how shady Tammy was. Maybe I'm just defending the hometown guy. I don't know Big Meech, I don't know. But he messed up dealing with Tammy, that's for sure. So I just read a bunch of stuff from a document that I don't think has been out yet. Maybe somebody has it. Now, I am gonna leave you though with one other document, which I think Blue originally provided, but I'm not sure. If he didn't, then I apologize for the miscorrection, where there is a 5K 1.1 with Meech's name in it, though he didn't get the time. That's what's been showing during this. Yeah. Everyone should be the judge. Al Prophet, American Dope, BMF.
Alright, man. So, man. Good thing, man. So what I say, man, is, man, be careful who y'all hang out with, man, who y'all party with and all that good stuff, man. Just be careful, cause you never know. Like, and everybody out here playing the games, man. And I ain't know.
All right, we welcome to the show and a special.
I did not know that they was paying that much for people who telling. 80K and a 50 ball on top of that for telling. Goodness gracious. Y'all want me to do a part 2 to this though, man? Y'all hit it down in the comment, hit that like button and that subscribe button for me, player. It don't cost you nothing to do it, you dig? We out this thing, man. Hood certified. Who got heat, man?